I'm delighted to have our guest here today. Could you give your name a wee introduction and where you're from?
Yeah, so my name's Teague. I'm an Edinburgh-based artist. I've been making music now probably since I was about 14, so I'm 22 now. Just started making my own music during the first lockdown, and I've got a new song coming out next Friday.
hmm That's fantastic, mate. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you started establishing yourself as the artist you are around May last year, around the first lockdown, and of course you've been a musician for a longer period of time. When did you start writing music, and when did you make the decision to go with the project you're doing now?
Right, I started making music probably, I'd say maybe around like the age of 14. So I'm originally from Perth, and me and a few guys from school basically started a band. So we played for about 3 years, and I was like the lead guitarist for that band. So I've always kind of had music in my life basically, and it's usually just been me with the guitar. And then during the first lockdown, I was just sitting in the house bored, nothing to do, and I was like, I might as well start writing my own stuff because I've been wanting to do it for ages. But I was kind of like waiting for the right moment. I was like, oh, I was wanting to get everything perfect before starting, but then eventually I was like, nah, I'm just as well as starting the now and just seeing what happens. But the one problem is that I didn't know how to produce my own music. I've always
Mhm.
been like so terrible with like technical stuff. So basically, I just started out watching YouTube videos how to produce my own stuff, and yeah, it's just kind of been taking it from there, and it's been going good so far, man.
I see in terms of your setup for recording, because it's something that actually interests me as well. Like, do you have to have like a big expensive setup, or can you do it on like a foldable budget? Or
Nah, like literally, I started out like the very first tune that I put out was with my recording software, which is FL Studio that I use. It was like the free version. Um, I didn't even have like a keyboard or anything. I was like playing like the piano on my actual keys on my computer. So it was basically just terrible setup, man. But you can literally make music for free. You don't need to have like expensive equipment and all that. Obviously, it helps and everything, but literally with like the stuff that's out there on the internet as well, you can get like free sample kits and stuff like that. So it's all out there to be used for free.
aye, that's brilliant, mate. You're releasing your new single, No Patience, on the 5th of March. It's the 5th of
Yeah,
March, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
The
man.
track's brilliant, mate.
It
Is the
is.
current situation we're in inspired the track?
Yeah, basically, man. The track's basically about being impatient about wanting to go out there and do stuff and just like kind of gig and like meet folk and stuff like that. And it's just basically being about stuck in lockdown and basically drinking because that's like all there is to do at the moment.
Aye.
So, so yeah, it's again just recorded it in my bedroom. But now it's like I feel like with each track I'm doing, I'm getting more used to like the way I'm recording the process. I feel with this track, it's definitely a step up production wise from my last ones. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to getting out and letting folk hear it. So
Aye. I think it's quite interesting as well because see, like obviously the first lockdown last year, I think there was a kind of a lot of musicians that were like, "Oh, I better not release anything right now because we're in a lockdown and I
yeah,
can't gig and all that." I think it's just got to the point now where everybody's just kind of like, "Fuck it, I don't care anymore. I'll just get
yeah,
it
there
out."
was definitely. I think with like bigger artists, like the thing is like they were wanting to tour while putting like albums out and stuff like that. But like I think everyone was a bit naive during the first lockdown. We're like, oh yeah, it'll last like a couple of months. And I'm pretty sure like the artists that maybe withheld from releasing back then maybe wish they kind of just put their stuff out because you can't wait forever, man. You can't like you've got to keep if you've got a fan base as well, you've got to keep them like keep feeding them music and stuff. So, but
Aye.
it's definitely a difficult situation for all musicians and stuff. So
Aye, because I speak to a few people about this, and I think the key thing is to just keep being consistent. And I know it's hard as well, but I think that you have to generally enjoy what you're doing. And I think we making music is sometimes people can get so caught up with the idea of promoting something and making something that's
mhm,
marketable that they forget why they're doing it in the first place. You know what I mean? So I think
exactly, yeah.
it's really hard, but it's to try and maintain that sense of enthusiasm for it. You know?
Yeah, I think with as well, lockdown has shown definitely like the importance of social media for promoting your stuff. Like I know like since I started, I've learned so much about how to actually like promote yourself through like Instagram and stuff like that. I mean, with that, if you don't do that now as an artist, like you're pretty much stuck, because basically that's like your best way to be getting stuff out there, especially that you can't go and gig or tour or anything like that. So it's been interesting learning all that as well.
Your music's probably best described as trap with underlying tones of like emo influences like leaking through it. I love the combination you've got going on, mate. How did these ideas all come together?
I guess it all started like it all links back to the guitar. Like being a guitarist, I really wanted to carry over that into the music I make at the moment. And like I grew up listening to bands like The Cure and stuff like that. So I really like that kind of like melodic guitar melody stuff. And also like more modern music. So like I like stuff like Juice WRLD, Lil Peep, and I was finding that these two were kind of crossing over quite well. So yeah, basically that's just kind of like the influences I take from it, and it's quite hard because like it's the music I make is like maybe best like under the category of like emo rap, but I wouldn't say I rap. It's more like melodic stuff. So it's always when folk ask like, oh, what type of music do you do? It's kind of like a difficult one. It's kind of like alternative sort of. I don't know. It just is what it is, basically.
If you say to somebody, "Oh, the emo rap," it's not. You're going to get a different impression for what it actually sounds like, and like I think what's interesting as well is the fact that you're doing this kind of combination of genres. Like when people say to me, like, "Oh, I like The Cure," right? You would never picture the idea of somebody like making beats as well with a trap sound behind it. And I really, really like how forward thinking you're doing things, and I think that's quite important nowadays as well, because you can have your influences, like a lot of indie bands, a lot of rock bands and stuff as well. But I think when you're combining it with kind of what's trending right now musically, not just doing it because it's trending, because you enjoy it. You know what I mean? I think it's interesting that you've went for that kind of combination with obviously a lot of modern rappers as well now. And something that I love about rap nowadays is the production behind it. You know, and I think it's amazing and should be taken advantage of.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't have like during the first lockdown before I started doing any of this. I definitely wouldn't have said this is like the direction I would have taken the music that I wanted to do, because originally I wanted to get into like a proper studio, and it wasn't going to be like any of like the trap sort of influence. So I wanted to kind of like make more kind of like indie or sort of like alternative stuff. But then when I was learning myself, like the whole production thing, I kind of got to explore that side of it more, and I was like, oh no, this actually works quite well. And it was nice having like the full control over the production of it. Like I can make things exactly how I wanted it. So yeah, I'd say that's definitely influenced that sort of style.
Aye, that's brilliant, mate. So has there been musical influences on the image and the tracks you've created that come to mind through kind of rap and emo stuff you're describing?
What was it? Influences, did you ask there?
Aye, for the kind of like, so influences besides the ones you mentioned, is there others?
Yeah, definitely. Like I quite like I like the new album Machine Gun Kelly just put out, that kind of like pop punk. That's like another example of kind of genres kind of crossing. It's kind of that trap sort of stuff with like pop punks coming back into it. I'm trying to think who else I've been listening to recently. I really like Mac Miller as well. Like that sort of like, I really liked his last two albums. I like how he was kind of like, he evolved from kind of being like a rapper and then went into the more like musical side of it with like, there's even sort of like jazz elements in some of his stuff that he released, like his last stuff. So yeah, but like I basically listen to everything, man. Like one day, like just before this, I was listening to Oasis, and then I could turn it to something completely different. It's just whatever I'm feeling.
Aye, and I think we all kind of go through phases as well when we're making music and creating. We have our early influences, and then things you notice as well when your writing changes. It tends to be that your influences change as well, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I'm definitely, if I listen to like an album for like an extended period of time, and then I go and write, I can 100% like subliminally, I'm imitating what I've just listened to. I don't mean to, but I'll be writing stuff. I'm like, oh, this melody is kind of like reminds me of something. And I'll listen back to what I've been listening to and be like, oh, that's where that came from. But when you're writing it, you don't think about it, but it just subliminally it kind of happens.
Aye, because like I was listening to, don't know if you've heard of a rap group. Well, I sort of, I'll say a rap group called Party Next Door. They do like sort of really slow melodic kind of beats with some singing, and it's like when you're sitting vibing to certain songs, you're like, oh man, I'd love to write a song like that, and you're just pure
Yeah.
like writing the chords down and all that, trying to get a vibe off it, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it does have a big influences, you know, because if it's always on in the background, the certain music you listen to, you're going to subconsciously pick up on it.
Definitely, man. Yeah, 100% agree with that. That's like I used to like listen to mostly like indie stuff and like stuff like Scottish indie, like Biffy Clyro or say, or like my favorite. Biffy Clyro were probably like were originally my biggest influence to the music that I played. So like I used to play them loads when I was younger. So I kind of try to like carry over that like into my new stuff as well, but it's kind of like I don't know, it's just kind of a mix of all different genres to be fair, man.
Aye. So how has the lockdown been for you creatively, mate?
It's at the start it was really good because I don't think I would have like started any of this if we weren't in lockdown. So initially it was really good to actually get me going just because there was nothing to do. But then I'm kind of at the point now, like especially I find with like my lyrics that because I can't go out and do anything, there's not that much to write about. And lyrics is probably something I always struggle with to actually like find a topic to write about. So it's quite hard finding stuff to write about when there's nothing going on. That's the only thing.
Aye. No, and I can imagine, but that's something I was going to mention to you as well, is see how your music, I really enjoy it, but see your videos, like
Mhm.
I particularly were really, really impressive. How did the planning come for them?
Oh, basically, so my flatmate here in Edinburgh, he studies film at Edinburgh. So yeah, we've just been making videos together for a while now. We actually just went out and shot a new one for my new video. So we filmed that out in the snow, and it was absolutely freezing, man. It was like literally could barely feel my fingers for it. But we got some really cool shots. But yeah, no, he's been really good with it. So excited to get this new one out as well. It's looking good.
Did you manage to film it just the two of you together? Was there anybody else like helping with
Nah,
the filming?
just the two of us. So he's got a drone as well. So we had like the drone flying about. Like for example, when we were out filming the video to sometimes when we went up to like Arthur's Seat and we had like the drone flying about for like all like the wide shots and stuff. But it was quite funny because we went up and we're trying to get some nice shots of like the sun setting. So you had like all these couples and all these like tourists just sitting up in like dead silence basically. And then we just took this drone out and it's just like the noise it makes, it's just like it's so loud. So everyone's sitting there for a nice wee sunset and just there's drones flying about and I've got the speaker out miming to the song. So I don't know if they were too happy about it, but we got the shots, so that's all that really matters, man.
Aye, that's definitely, man, like definitely, mate. And it's good to keep having people like that as well around you that are also creatives, because I think that's kind of something that you don't realise until you kind of get into music. You start to surround yourself with people that are kind of on the same wavelength as you, and you can collaborate and do all sorts of cool stuff, you know.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. Like the people you surround yourself with definitely have a big influence on stuff you do in your own life. So yeah, even again through connecting with folk through social media, like there's so many more projects that I'm like getting involved with. Like this Friday, I've got a song coming out with an artist from Ohio, actually. So that's my first feature, and that was just literally a case of he hit me up on Instagram and was like, "Oh, like I really vibe with your stuff. Would you like write some stuff over a track that I'm doing?" Just as simple as that, and it's like to work with someone in America instantly like that, like you kind of take it for granted. It's like pretty sick.
That's amazing, mate. That's genuinely amazing. So what are your plans for this year then?
Plans for this year, just to like consistently put out music, basically, man. It's I eventually want to get gigging as well at some point, but that's one of like the things that I've been struggling to understand the setup for, because obviously being a musician and playing in bands, you've got people around you. Like I know the structure for that. Like you go there, sound check, blah blah blah. I'm used to that. But when it comes to just me on my own with stuff that I've made electronically, I'm not too sure how I'm gonna like execute that. But so I'm looking to figure that out. And yeah, man, just videos and music basically, just consistently, and
Aye.
more collabs. Because I didn't do any like features or collabs last year. So one of my main goals this year was just to work with as many people as possible.
That's brilliant, mate. Then, so it's been great having you on. How can we find you online?
Online, so Instagram, I'm just at Teague_music. Same as on Twitter, it's Teague_music, and on YouTube, you can just type in Teague and you'll find me. And on Spotify, my name's just Teague. So yeah, that's me.
Aye, brilliant, mate. Well, thanks for coming on, right?
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on, man.